Hello everyone, welcome to this tutorial of running WordPress on EC2. A while ago I wanted to run a WordPress website on EC2 and I find it quite difficult to go around and find Docker images and MySQL images, fit them together, see what are the necessary configuration for them and so on. And after quite a lot of tries over the past year, I come to a solution which works for running multiple WordPress websites on a single EC2 instance. Of course, running all the WordPress websites on a single EC2 instance could be a bit risky because this is a single instance. If it goes down or if it is restarted, then all your websites are going to be down. So this might not be the best solution for a production, but if you are just testing an idea, this could be the way to go. So here I go to launch instance. Give it a name. Ubuntu, and if we are running few WordPress websites, we better use a bit more powerful instance like T2 small, and then everything else is okay. Okay, so the instance is running now. Let's go here to see. It already have a public IP address which I can use. Go to my DNS manager, and for each subdomain that I want to use, I'm going to set an A record using this value. Alright, back to the instance and it's running. Let's connect to this IP. Okay, now I'm connected and I can start running the scripts, but I need to use Git to clone the repository before I can use it. So let's clone the repository. Alright, so we have all we need now. Here, as you can see, there are a few scripts here. One of them is install infrastructure. This is going to install Docker, Nginx, and Certbot. Another one, initialize infrastructure. This is going to create a MySQL and Docker network. And we have two more scripts, which one is going to add the WordPress and another one is going to configure Nginx. Let's see inside of each of these scripts. Alright, the first one for installing the infrastructure is going to do an update and upgrade of apt. Then it's going to install Docker Prerequisites and install Docker. It goes on to install Nginx, start Nginx, install Certbot, and finally add the current user to the Docker group. This allows us to use Docker command without using sudo. Alright, so we need to give the permission to these scripts to run. And then run the script. This may take a bit of time. Alright, so everything is installed now. If we try it like docker ps, we will have an error because we need to close this connection, SSH connection, and open it again so that the user have its own permissions loaded. And I connect it again. Now let's try it. Perfect. Going back to EC2 VP and checking on the files again. Now we run the second script. And let's have a look before we run it. All right, so this script is going to generate a password, a random 20 character password, then set db password to generated password, and then write this inside a .env file under the current directory, which our Docker Compose file can access. The next step is to create the network, app network for all the applications. And then the next step is to create infra compose YAML, which is the MySQL. We will go to check this in a second. After all of this, I have added around 2 minutes pause so that you can wait until everything is up and running before running the next script. You can stop this after a minute. And let's go back to see the infra compose. Inside this Docker Compose file, we only have MySQL. It's going to use the .env file to get the root password, and it's going to create a volume so that the data is persistent even if the container stops and restart again. And it also connected to the app network because all the applications need to access to this network to access to the database. Run the script. So this is the 2 minutes wait. You can just wait a bit and then press Ctrl+C to stop it. Now we go for docker ps to see what is up and running. MySQL, of course. So this is ready for us to start our WordPress instances, which is the third script. Let's have a look inside this script first. First, when you run this script, you need to provide a domain and a port. The domain is going to be used as the name of the container, and the port is where we are going to serve the WordPress website. If we go back to our diagram, you can see that we have several instances, and each of these instances is going to use port 80 by default, and we're going to map that port 80 to something which later on we can use inside our Nginx configuration. There is a initdb. This is going to create a database inside MySQL for our instance to use. So here is the database name. If it doesn't exist, we are creating one. And as soon as this is ready, which we put here depend on initdb. As soon as this is ready, we are going to start our WordPress and expose it to the provided port. Let's go back and chmod +x 3 and then run this script. Alright, so it says I need a domain and a port. The domain is vp1.cointel.com and the port I use 8081. Alright, all good. Now we check docker ps. As you can see, there is a MySQL as well as a WordPress, which is being served in port 8081. Now that we have our instance up and running, we go to create the first config. The next script, add Nginx config, is going to do this for us. Let's go to see inside the script. Alright, this is going to get a domain, a port, and an email. The email is required because we are going to apply for a certificate for our domain. And this email is going to be used there so that if the certificate expires, they can notify us about that. Domain and port are exactly similar to what we provided for previous script. Now, this script is going to initially create a configuration. This configuration, the purpose of this configuration is to serve our domain on port 80, because we need to do this in order to get a certificate for the domain first. After we set up this one, then we reload Nginx and then apply for the certificate. And we already know the certificate is going to be inside etc, let's encrypt, live domain, private key, and full chain. Based on that, we are going to generate the full configuration file, which listens to port 80 HTTP, as well as port 443 for SSL. We need to run this as sudo because it's going to need access to creating files under etc nginx sites available, and if it doesn't have enough permissions, it cannot create any files under this directory. vp1.cointel.com, port 8081, and email I just provide a@b.com. So let's go back to here under security groups and edit inbound roles, add role HTTP from anywhere and HTTPS from anywhere. Save rules. Alright, now it should be working. Okay, successfully received certificate and all is good. Now let's go to our WordPress website. Paste. Alright, this is up and running. Let's go and initialize this as VP1. Username VP1, password anything, a@b.com, and install. Alright, we got ourselves a WordPress website. VP1. Now let's close this and see if we can run a second one. So to launch a second instance, we only need to run this script and this one. 3 vp2.co.intel.com 8082. All right, now we run the fourth script, sudo vp2 Alright, that is done. So let's get the website name, go back to our browser and check. Alright, the second one is up and running. Let's call it VP2 a@b.com and install. Alright, so the second one is up and running. The first one is running, and now we go to run the third website. Give it a name. And it's working. So we have all our websites up and running now. We can add infinite number of WordPress websites here with minimum resources. Thanks everyone for watching. In the next video, I'm going to set up a backup process for MySQL and WordPress instances, and also show you how to restore the backups. Thanks for watching, and see you next time.